Keir Starmer has announced the UK is going to spend a lot more on defence, moving from 2.3% of the nation's GDP to 2.5% by 2027. The Prime Minister unveiled the move in Parliament yesterday amid rising global tensions over the future of the conflict in Ukraine and the impact of Donald Trump's presidency. But the cash is coming from cuts to the UK's international aid budget, which has resulted in criticism of ministers for the decision. So, what has the reaction been? Conservative Party leader Kemi Badenoch gave a speech before Starmer's announcement, calling for the government to spend more than 2.5% of GDP on defence. She argued that we are returning to a world of the strong and the weak, adding that in such a world, the UK must not be weak. But Badenoch then backed Starmer when he spoke in the Commons, including when he said the UK would move to a new target of 3% of GDP on defence in the next Parliament, but also urged him to raid the UK's welfare budget to fund the hike. Defence Secretary John Healey spoke more about the increase this morning and denied the UK had only been pushed into the move by the impact of President Trump. Healey insisted the government had responded because the world has changed, but admitted Trump has played a part and reinforced the importance of more military funding. While in his own press conference on Tuesday, Starmer also said his decision had been accelerated by Trump returning to office, but had been 3 years in the making. What about the economics? Well, Starmer presented the rise in defence spending as being worth £13.4 billion more a year. However, he's been criticised by economists at the Institute for Fiscal Studies, or IFS, who pointed out that this was a misleadingly large figure, as it appeared to be based on assuming the defence would otherwise have been frozen in cash terms. The IFS's Ben Zaranko said that an extra 0.2% of GDP is actually only around £6 billion, the size of the cut to the UK's aid budget, calling this frustrating, while Director Paul Johnson said this was silly games with numbers and totally inconsistent figures. Shadow Defence Secretary James Cartledge also said serious questions remain about Starmer's plan and stressed Labour must immediately answer how much money has actually been committed and how ministers will supercharge the procurement process. This morning, however, the Defence Secretary suggested the true figure was something over £6 billion, but insisted either way this is a big boost for defence. And what about international aid? After initially criticising Trump for slashing the US's own aid budget, Foreign Secretary David Lammy this week had to accept cuts to his own department's overseas spending. The news sparked outcry from charities and international organisations about the impact on the world's poorest. Labour MP Sarah Champion, who leads Parliament's International Development Committee, urged Starmer to rethink, warning that cutting aid was a false economy that will only make the world less safe. While former Labour MP David Miliband, who is now president of the International Rescue Committee, described the cut as devastating for people who need more help, not less. Charities including ActionAid, Save the Children UK and WaterAid also criticised the move, including as a betrayal. But the Prime Minister has insisted it was not a decision I wanted to make and vowed support would continue in nations such as Gaza, Sudan and Ukraine. He also said the move was a decision that was necessary for the protection of our country. What do you think about the plans to increase UK military spending? Let us know your thoughts in the comments and follow City AM for more.